It's time to wake up.
Anybody that believes what the left believes is absolutely on the side of evil.
You can sustain crazy with things like, hey, JFK will be here soon, or maybe Robin Williams will show up for a little bit, but you have to add in new elements to keep people interested, and they have in fact done that. So we're gonna tell you about some of their new little traditions that this group has taken up. They now have a new thing that they're drinking. What is it? It's poison. So chlorine dioxide, which is similar to bleach, is dangerous to ingest in large quantities, and they have been doing just that. Now, in very limited quantities can be used to disinfect water. It can be used to clean things, kind of like bleach when it's diluted. Obviously, in large quantities at a high concentration, it would be very bad for you to consume that. Family members of a Delaware woman who left her husband and child to go there to be a part of their little group confirmed that she's drinking this chemical mixture containing chlorine dioxide from a communal bowl. And the author of the book, The Storm is Upon Us, Mike Rothschild, which is about the QAnon movement, says this feels like a progression. It immediately evokes images of Jonestown and Heaven's Gate. Because of course it does. When you have a group of people who all believe the exact same thing, congregating around a communal bowl and drinking poison, that is worrying, and it should be.
A group of conspiracy theorist influencers have suddenly fallen ill with a mysterious syndrome. Truly, after they attended a Reawaken America conference in Dallas this month, and now they have come to Jesus. They've understood that the illness that is befallen them is most likely an anthrax attack. That's right. The far-right conspiracy claim began after a dozen people spent time together in a confined space at the Reawaken America Tour event in Dallas over the weekend of December 10th. And the fact that this was likely a COVID outbreak and super spreader event has almost entirely been ignored. The anthrax claim was first made by Joe Altman on his Conservative Daily podcast earlier this week. In a video recording of the podcast, Altman can be seen coughing and sneezing on camera, symptoms often associated with COVID-19. There is a 99% chance it's anthrax, Altman said on his podcast, even though no one had tested positive for anthrax poisoning, and none of the other 3,500 attendees have so far reported suffering the effects of anthrax. But like, that's how anthrax works, you know what I'm saying? Because it pretends to be COVID, but then it's like, boo, anthrax. I think.
I love it. Because anthrax is one of those things that like no one really knows what it is. They remember it was mentioned in some kind of like post 9/11 news peg. Anthrax is a thing. And it's basically like yelling smoke bomb when it's like, so you guys got together during a pandemic and all got sick. And your first guess is anthrax? Do you at least have some kind of test results to back that up? And the answer, if you were wondering, is no.
So there's this video that has been going viral, appearing to demonstrate that air, which has generally been blamed mostly for the spread of COVID, isn't the element that you should be focusing so much of your attention on. In fact, you should be looking down a bit. Video in question shows an individual running tap water over a COVID rapid test before asserting that it had produced a positive result, evidence that the virus is either in the water or that the test itself is faulty. Footage was widely promoted on Telegram by Ron Watkins, the QAnon guru turned congressional candidate, who people seem to believe is actually the guy who was pretending to be Q or whatever. More than 267,000 users were exposed to the claim thanks to just his thing alone. Okay, so in addition to appearing to demonstrate that either the test is faulty or the water is COVID-y, it also apparently shows that the water contains graphene oxide, a substance that conspiracy theorists falsely claim is present in the vaccine. So let's briefly touch base with that conspiracy theory, because if you are like me, or if you're just a rational person leading an actual life, you probably haven't come across this conspiracy theory. It has been looked into by PolitiFact and found that there is no reason to believe that graphene oxide is in, let alone is 99% of the vaccine. So it's just like, I don't know exactly what graphene oxide is supposed to be. I'm imagining sort of like graphite a little bit. That's what it is? How could that possibly be 99% of the vaccine? But it's not. Okay, so let's dispense with that. Okay, so this video appears to show that COVID is in the water. I have never heard that that is the case, although I have heard that they have checked sewage systems for evidence of the prior passage of various variants and things like that. So I don't even necessarily rule out that in theory, maybe it could be, although this hardly counts as evidence of that. My issue is with what we're supposed to do with this information. So this video asserts that it's in the water. Ron Watkins, the Q guy, wants you to believe that it is. So what exactly? Let's say that I accept that you have demonstrated in your stupid video that either the tests don't work or COVID's in the water. Then what? Couldn't a reasonable person forced to digest and do something with this information then say, well, then isn't it even more urgent that we get vaccinated? I mean, if it's literally in the tap water, wouldn't you for sure want to be as protected against it as possible? But that doesn't appear to be the conclusion. And why couldn't it be, by the way? There is literally nothing about QAnon, which by the way predates the pandemic entirely, that means that they had to come down on thinking that it wasn't important or that we shouldn't do anything to protect against it, or that all of these protective measures are just social control or they're achieving some sort of political end, except that, because the right wingers, they had to decide that. And this, by the way, is from a group, these QAnoners, who believe that they are like the ultimate supporters of Donald Trump, because they support Donald Trump not only as a great politician or a guy who had the presidency stolen from him, they believe he's basically like divinely positioned to not only solve the positions of today, but to make good on decades-long conspiracies about human trafficking and all that stuff. And yet, Donald Trump has told you to get vaccinated. Donald Trump has occasionally acknowledged that COVID was serious. I mean, the dude literally went to the hospital with COVID. He demonstrated in his own whatever passes for a body that it is a serious thing that can negatively affect you. And yet they don't seem to be taking it seriously, even inside of their own conspiracy theories.